and you do comment a lot on African betting, Clan, and you sometimes set a lot of people straight. Tell us a bit more about that.
Well, I think this game we need to be straight with people, the punters, and I don't know what are we trying to hide. These people that won't give comments and the whole lot, it baffles me. I don't know. We're trying to really promote the game and everything like that. There are times that I think we can't lose. We get beaten. But that's my honest opinion.
Correct.
And I think that's all the people out there are looking for. Just give your honest opinion. If you get beaten, that's fine.
Jeez, absolutely.
It's called betting. It's not called winning. It's called fishing, not catching.
That's me. That's me.
Yeah.
The tea is glorious here at Summerveld Clubhouse, and we like to welcome you to another edition of In the Box Seat with my bushy-haired friend on the left and myself, Warren Lenferner. Our guest today is Craig Eudey, but we'll get to him in a moment because he's just taken off his glasses, this man, and it makes me nervous when he does that. Why have you taken... Oh, and you're chewing chewing gum. You've taken off your glasses and you're chewing chewing gum. What's wrong?
Well, I'm feeling relaxed.
You're feeling relaxed,
No.
eh? Okay,
I can't see in here without them.
Okay, that shirt suits you.
Yeah, I know. It was the right price too.
Craig Eudey's our guest today. Craig, lovely to have you sit around the table with us and be with us. How are you?
I'm extremely well, Warren. Nice to see Andrew here. Known Andrew especially a long, long time.
Yeah, we go back a long way.
Very long way.
Well, let's tell the viewers how long. I mean, obviously you can't pinpoint the exact day or year, but I mean, going back to some of the greats in racing and many years. You say 20 years, 40 years?
Close to 40.
Well, I've been in racing 40, I think it's about 43 years now, so I was here when all the greats were here, Sid Laird and David Payne and all those guys were training, which was always very interesting because it was very different then to what it is now.
Yes.
And Andrew's been around probably as long, nearly.
Yeah, you're a bit longer than me. Yeah.
A bit older than you.
Yeah.
Has he
and better looking.
Yeah, well, look at his hair.
Has he always
I
not...
dyed this colour.
You dyed this colour. Nothing wrong with that. Good judge, yeah, nothing wrong. Has he always been a man that wears no shoes? He's got them on today. I can't
see
believe
he's
that.
got the half shoes on
Half
today.
shoes.
I got shouted at last week when I didn't come with shoes.
Did you get shouted at?
Yeah, well, pretty internal audit came and had a go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's right. You got to.
Were they going to buy you a pair?
Well, I was hoping so, but nothing materialised. Yeah.
We'll come back to Craig in a moment. You told me last night you're off to the Kruger National Park again. Goodness me. Okay.
Yeah, 2.5 weeks.
Oof. I don't know what it is. I think it brings out the wildlife in him going to the Kruger.
He's very lucky. I was extremely lucky when I was in the army. We spent a weekend and 3 weeks out in a weekend near the State President's house for 3 months. And we were allowed to walk around there just with our black pants, t-shirts, rifles. We were asked not to shoot anything unless we really had to.
Yes.
And it was absolutely brilliant. I love going up to Umfolozi and all that sort of thing in the bush. I love it.
I tell you that.
Yeah, well.
I enjoy the bush too, but I mean, I just can't get over that you go like 6 times a year. I mean,
Yeah, well, at my age, you get 40% discount, so that's me.
And there's not too many years to go, so you better get it in now.
Yeah, you got, while the going's good, yeah.
Okay, no, that's good. We'll miss you, but of course, go and enjoy it. Can you believe I've never been to the Kruger National Park? I'm a South African. I've been to, as you say, Umfolozi and Shishlui and Kuzi and all those ones.
Yeah.
Not in the same league.
Not in the same, but
It's just huge, beautiful.
we've got to go. I mean, it's like being Italian living in Italy and you don't eat pasta. We've got to go. Anyway, Craig, thanks again for your time, and lovely we're going to chat and touch base. And the first question I always ask everybody, which the viewers know by now because it's the most important question, is to get a grounding. Rewind all the way back. Where did it start for you? How did you hear about horse racing? Were you born into a horse racing family? Take us back to that very first day that you got involved with horses or horse racing.
Marisburg College.
No, long before Marisburg College. As a youngster, I just loved horses, and specifically horse racing. I never got involved with show jumping or cross country or dressage or anything like that. It was just horse racing. And the closest I could find in my sort of background to even knowing which end of a horse bites was my great-grandmother used to ride. My mother never touched one, my dad never touched. And so I was always really just interested in horse racing. As my mother said, I could spell see cottage, but I couldn't spell cottage by itself. But so that was as a youngster, and I was lucky enough at about the age of about 9-10. My mother's best friend, a woman called Mary Gurney, knew what was Binnie Harris, who became Binnie Smith and Binnie Walker, and that she used to train from Ambambulu, which is not far from Eston. So I used to go and spend the night with Mary, and then the next morning go through to Binnie. So Binnie was the first person in racing that I actually got sort of involved, if you want to. I used to go a couple of times holiday to her place.
Okay, so that introduced you to it, and then just briefly take us through your journey. I mean, your first job, your second job, then you took your trainer's license out, and just take us through the journey.
Well, I went to varsity at college. I got the accountancy prize 3 years in a row, so everyone thought I should become a chartered accountant. And I went to varsity in Maritzburg, but I didn't enjoy it at all. I was working holidays at an ordered place called Thornton Dibben Company, and it just wasn't me, sitting inside an office with a green pen and a red pen and a blue pen and whatever else. And on the 1 July morning, which was probably one of the best days of my life, my folks came and said to me, "Listen, we know you've done a year and a half, but we can see you're not happy. We don't mind if you leave varsity and follow your passion." And that was the day the Politician won the July, which was my favourite horse. So that was Monday. I was in Maritzburg, clawed out of varsity, and about 6 weeks later I started with Buller Benton. I'd met Harold Taylor through Dr. Napier, who used to be a steward at Maritzburg. We had a trading store at Eston, and he was the doctor that used to come around there, district surgeon. And so I met Harold Taylor, because Harold Taylor used to go and see him, and Harold stayed in
Harold was stable jockey to Buller.
Buller, yeah. So he introduced me to Buller, and Buller said to me, "Listen, I can't pay you, but if you want to come and learn, that's fine." So I spent 6 months with Buller, and then Alistair spoke to me, and I said, "Well, he's asked me just to help Craig and Steve for 2 months." So I stayed an extra 2 months, and then in March I left Buller and started with Alistair, and that went on for about 27, 28 years. I was with Alistair Gordon.
I was just talking about it this morning. We had a 21st bash somewhere at Hillcrest.
At the old keg.
Yeah, I still don't remember getting home, but anyway.
In those days we could do it. Now they've got people looking for you the whole time.
Those days you couldn't get home. Now you can't get home.
I must have got home because I'm still here. Yeah.
And so that was very, very good. And then I left us, and I thought of trying something else. And then John McVeigh, the vet, came and asked me, would I like to work in England? So I thought, okay, let me go and see. And they paid for me to go over there to William Haggis. And I worked there for a year. I was actually going to stay 2 years. I went over with my then girlfriend at the time, Carrie. And then came back here for Christmas, and Max McConnell, James Roberts, and Neil Butcher, and them all said, well, why don't you go on your own? We'll help you out. So I thought, to go back to England, with the cold and the wet and the whole lot, would I get another opportunity like this? And so I flew back over, resigned, brought all the stuff that we had over there back over here, and started off here. And luckily enough, I could get into Summerfeld here. I had a couple of moves and everything like that. And I started, it went off very well. Had Irish Darlings, and my first horse I bought 1.5, and the third horse I bought was Thunder Wami, ended up in running in the July. So it was good.
If I could just pause you along the journey for a moment there. When you were training, I remember, maybe might not have known you as well as I know you now, but you had some fabulous owners. Maritz Fontaine, whose notepad I'm using, the Mr. and Mrs. Young, the late Mr. Young. So touch on those, some wonderful people.
Yeah, we had some wonderful people, as I said. They started, first of all, it was my mates that got me going. And then later on, as you say, went through to Pauline and Keith and Claire, which was a wonderful time for them. I had fly first class for them, and it really was good. They then sort of cut back, and Keith sadly passed away. And then I also had Mrs. Oppenheimer, who was wonderful to train for. I used to speak to her like 3-4 times a week, and we had forecasts of 1-4 in a row for her, which she was absolutely thrilled with. And we had a lot of fun with her. And then sadly she passed away, and they cut right down again. But it was a really good time.
Well, I haven't seen Max and James.
Max and James, James hasn't renewed his colours. Max is a very social person. He wants to go to the races and sit in the pub and drink and talk to his mates and the whole lot. And it's not the same. It's not the same these days. Remember, we used to have the whole tavern down at Clearwood,
and
that bar upstairs at Scottsville, and it's not the same. Now you get the owners going. It's not a social occasion anymore. It's a bit like the rugby where they've taken away the bras on the outside. It's not the same atmosphere that we used to have.
Sure, but that please God as we go forward, and the COVID lifts and everything, comes back to normal. That'll come back. Okay, so then you were training on your own and proceed from there.
Well, as I said, I had worked in between. I'd worked for William Haggis. And that was a really good experience. Completely different training, completely different work, but it was a good experience to go and see that and work over there. I did a lot of traveling. We were traveling, nearly 4 to 5 times a week to different race courses to race. It is a different way of doing things. And then, as I said, came back here, trained, and then got out of it, and wasn't quite sure what I was going to do. And I was sort of helping a couple of the guys out here when they needed a break. And I had another little business on the side.
That was a coffin business.
That was going to be, but Zimbabwe collapsed.
Oh, so died.
That died very quickly.
No,
But I had a shavings.
Did you say a coffin business?
Making coffins, yeah.
Okay.
I'd bought into a company, but 3 weeks later there was no money in Zimbabwe, and that was our big market because you couldn't really get in here in South Africa. And then Mike came to me one day and said to me, "Just we've known each other for 40 years. I need an assistant. Would you be prepared to come along?" They made me an offer, and I said, "Yeah." That's been coming for 3 years in June.
Yeah, that's Mike Miller.
Very interesting. Mike Miller, yeah.
Well, that's where you are now, and it's just a wonderful journey and a wonderful story and a wonderful career. But now that you currently with Michael Miller, let's talk a bit about them, because you say you've known them for 40 odd years. And he knows his way around a horse. He's very good with his horses, all horses, but obviously 2-year-olds is his strong point. But any horse to train, any horse is a strong point. A wonderful man, a wonderful family, and it's a very professionally run operation, isn't it?
Yes, very much so. As you say, Mike's exceptionally good with his 2-year-olds, and he's taught me a lot about the 2-year-olds, which I'd always taken sort of 2 years before I ran my 2-year-olds with about 4. Neil Butcher and them always say, "You're running it early, it's a 4-year-old." But Mike's taught me a completely different way, and it's we don't have a lot of shin sorenesses or anything like that. And then obviously Ray has been an absolute star, and Sterling is just so supportive of myself, the whole stable, and been absolutely brilliant. So it's, as you say, it's a really, really great family to work for.
And of course, Kelly, who is married into the Azzy family and racing. I mean, so everywhere you look in that family, it's just racing.
Yes, just racing. She's in Joburg and just had a child. And yeah, as you say, the whole stable is just steeped in racing from Mike when he was used to ride in amateur races. And there's a couple of photos in the office of him winning.
It must be remiss of us, so we tried to get him on the show. He refused.
Michael?
No.
Yes.
Yeah. No. No. This is not his game.
Okay. So I didn't know that.
We just wake up.
I just get told arrive and start talking. That's what I get told. But
we were down at the pens.
Yes.
And all I hear is, no, this is not my thing. Craig, you can take this on the other side of the phone there.
And now that you mentioned that, everyone's different. Some people enjoy the microphone, some people don't. And even at the races, when he has a winner, he's quick to get off that mic.
Let someone else take the. Yes.
Yeah, pardon the pun. Mike's quick to get off the mark. But Sterling, touching on Sterling, a youngster who's passionate about the game and who's also invested a lot. A lot of his horses, he always makes me laugh. He says, if these horses don't perform, I'm moving them. I said, but they're your dad. And, he said, no, don't perform, they must go. Yeah. So, but he tongue in cheek, but he's invested a lot in the game.
He's invested a hell of a lot in the game, and he's always buying, and he's always thinking. He's brilliant with his marketing and everything. And he just loves the 2-year-old races. That is his absolute passion. To him, winning the first baby race of the year is like everyone else winning the July handicap. Yeah. He said to me, this is like me winning the July. Yeah. When Sheldon got up by a short head and then Royal Sovereign won, he just said, this is me. This is what I'm in racing for. I love the babies, and it's great that Dad loves training the babies like he does. And, we start very early with the babies. They don't come in late and try and chase them and a whole lot. They've done so much grounding by the time they come in. They're all quiet and they're great.
Let's just.
But those babies, the whole baby scene has changed from the old days. I remember horses winning sort of at New Year. They used to have big races at New Year. With African breeders and all those sort of races.
Yeah.
Now, the first sort of main baby race is the gold medallion.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's definitely, the horses just, I don't think anyone will begrudge me saying it, the horses are just softer now when they come in. You know, they've got to look this way and look that way for you people to buy them at the sales. You don't have them coming in like they used to, say, from someone like the Birch Brothers and that sort of thing. They were about 15 hands high, but you put 13 hands high, and by the time you put the food into them, they just blossomed and they were tough.
But, you know, that's interesting because a lot of people might criticize, you know, and Mark Miller's not the only 2-year-old trainer. There's guys in Joburg that like to ready up the 2-year-olds, and injuries happen. We all know that. You know, we all know that injuries happen. It could be to a 2-year-old, it could be to a 6-year-old. But nobody wakes up, as we were just saying off air, nobody wakes up thinking, well, let's go to the track this morning and see if we can break down our whole string. I mean, injuries happen. But the point I'm trying to make is you want to ready up the 2-year-olds, but how do you, I'm asking you, how do you ready them up but going slowly on them at the same time to nurse them through?
That's where, you know, I've learned so much through Mike. They don't come in and trot for 2 weeks, strong canter for 2 weeks, and then start sprinting. For 4 or 5 months, they're just cantering, just doing long work, just building themselves up, building up the bone density and that sort of thing.
Okay.
And it's, I mean, even when I thought I was sort of reading something up as a 3-year-old, you'd sort of you'd come in and they'd be working fast within a month.
Okay.
4 or 5 months they do nothing until August, September. They don't work fast.
Yeah, it's like it's a technique.
That's it. Yeah. Absolutely, it's a technique that's learned because, you know, the 2-year-olds go on to 3, 4-year-olds, and I also, you know, we also know that you know, there's another market out there. There's your Mauritian market. There's people that are looking to buy and sell and trade in horses, and that's also fine.
Sterling loves that. You know, they come to us because there's always meat on the bone. You know,
absolutely.
They haven't been killed, and they've got races to win afterwards.
Let's talk about go back to when you were with Alistair, and we had Nicolette on the podcast. The two of you did cross paths. You worked together.
For a
wonderful lady, isn't she?
Yes, a long time. We worked together for many years.
And
wonderful.
And Alistair, well, you must have also seen some great horses and a great man and a great conditioner, Alistair, as well.
Yes, you know, it was quite interesting listening to Dennis Dreyer a couple of years ago when he won one of those 2-year-old races, and you see, you know, if you haven't got the horse, it doesn't matter what you do. If you haven't got the horse, you can't win with it. And Alistair had some great horses. The best horse I've ever worked with is Scarlet Lady, and that's including working in England. Absolutely brilliant. And we had extra covers, Maurice Fontaines, all that. So we had some really good horses when I was with Alistair, and we were, you know, pleasure to work for.
You remember all those horses, Craig?
Yeah, Custodian was another one.
Custodian and Scarlet Lady were the same year because Paul Gadsby was our stable jock at the time, and coming into that 2-year-old colts race or mixed race, he chose Custodian. He won his first race by 10 lengths, then he won his next race by 11 lengths, then he won the Durban Nursery, beating Come Lucky on an objection.
Come Lucky and Brian Cherry.
And Mace Roberts, they came across us at the 800 in the 1,000-metre race at Greyville, and the staffs took it away because he came across too quickly, which was different. And then Paul actually chose to ride Custodian there, but never again. I mean, Scarlet Lady was just special.
Sure. Yeah, I remember my early time, you know, when I started getting involved in racing, is when you used to go up at the escalator at Scottsville. At the time, you walk straight into the restaurant, the Scarlet Lady restaurant. It was such a cozy little restaurant.
I think it was more like a bar, but anyway.
Actually, I can't remember what it was. It was so good. The drinks were so good there.
But Scottsville was great. I mean, the owners and trainers bar on the first floor there. I mean,
yes, you had to walk through the lounge.
And then on a Wednesday, if you're in Maritzburg and you needed a doctor or an architect or a lawyer, you didn't phone the office, you phoned the barman.
Right? The barman at Scottsville, yeah. Craig, we ask a lot of the assistant trainers, you know, like Stewie Ferry the other day, and, you know, why hasn't he gone on his own, or would he go on his own? You did go on your own for a while. Although you were told from your mates that you were going to get the support, which you did, and the yard grew beautifully. Was there still that when you were taking that first step, were you still a little bit butterflies in the stomach and you know, should I be doing this?
Yes, you always think, you know, if you buy badly for 2 years or something like that, and you don't do anything, you get forgotten very quickly. Luckily, I had nice horses, and, you know, Tandawami running, and Joburg loved Joburg, ended up running the July, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, we had a lot of fun with those guys. and a lot of them, when I stopped, haven't bought another horse. So
it's a big jump from working for Alistair for like 27 years and then taking a leap.
Then William for a year in between, and then straight into that. It was, but I enjoyed it. I don't regret doing that. I do regret the money that's still owed to me, but that's another question.
You still drive a big red fire engine.
The bank owns that one.
That's we don't. Well, yeah. As you say, that's you talk to a lot of the trainers, and unfortunately, but I suppose in most businesses there's bad debt around, which is sad. But let's not go down that road too much. African Betting Clan is a platform where it's a punters forum, as we all know. But before we talk about African Betting Clan and why I want to talk about African Betting Clan, you're very receptive of the media, as is the Miller stable, as is most of the people in racing. I say most because not everyone's receptive of the media, and that's their choice. But you are, when there's comments to be made, you represent the stable. When there's an opinion to be, on a panel, you're there. And you do comment a lot on African Betting Clan, and you sometimes set a lot of people straight. Tell us a bit more about that.
Well, I think this game, we need to be straight with people, the punters, and I don't know what are we trying to hide. These people that won't give comments and the whole lot, it baffles me. I don't know. We're trying to really promote the game and everything like that. There are times that I think we can't lose. We get beaten. But that's my honest opinion.
Correct.
And I think that's all the people out there are looking for. Just give your honest opinion. If you get beaten, that's fine.
Jeez, absolutely.
It's called, betting. It's not called winning. It's called fishing, not catching.
That's me.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be the quote of the week. I think it's called fishing, not catching. But just we'll continue that, because you're right, and I've just lost my train of thought. I've got it now. I've spoken to a couple of people that say, yes, but Mr. Harrison has owned this horse for 3 years, and he's paid 120,000 rand. That's what this horse is costing him. And when it runs first time out, I want him to have a bet and get his 120,000 back. I understand that, and I respect that. But when you talk about comments, I fully understand your owner's your priority, and your punter. Everyone's a priority, but if you're a trainer, you're here to serve your owner. He's paying you to do a job. I respect and I understand that. But when it comes to comments, and I've said it so many times and I'm going to keep saying it, nobody's looking. If I say to you, Craig, October song on Sunday, nobody's looking for you to say, I think it's the biggest certainty to look through a bridle, can't lose, have your maximum. No one's looking for that. Yeah. You're looking for a eating well, looking well, working well.
Improved with the blinkers.
And I should be very competitive. If you pass a comment like that, the owner is still going to get on. There's no doubt about that. I mean, do you agree?
The bookmakers don't think I'm that good a judge, so they quite.
So yes, comments, and that's just basically what talking to the public like we do. That's what gives them the needle. That complete no comment. They want to hear something.
Yeah, they want to know something, but they also a lot of the public are seriously ignorant. I mean, I got an email yesterday.
What did I do wrong?
No, not for you.
Thank you.
They're blaming a certain apprentice for cheating. The horse came out the pens. It was bloody pig rooting all the way down the thing and couldn't get going, and it was the favourite, and it ran nowhere. Cheat. What a bloody cheat.
Oh, I know that. Yes, from yesterday's racing?
Yes, from yesterday's.
And the saddle slipped?
Yes, but I wrote back to the bloke. I said the saddle slipped, and that's why the horse was back. No. Jockey's a cheat. I mean, jeez.
But okay, we was again talking off air. You wake up in the morning. Surely your first thought is not, I'm going to the stables today to break down all these horses. Surely that's not your first thought. Okay.
You're actually trying to keep them sound.
Okay. Now, you're talking about that particular jockey and that particular incident, and we weren't going to mention names, but everyone knows, the incident. Do you think that particular jockey got loaded into the pens and said, I'm going to do everything in my power to make the horse pig root, which first of all, I don't know if you can make a horse pig root. It does it on its own. And I'm going to do my best to cheat in this way. No, of course they didn't. So it's...
it's only talking from the pocket.
Which is wrong.
Exactly. They as Andrew says, a lot of them are just ignorant, and it's all talk from the pocket.
Yeah.
And that is why a lot of people that are in racing don't post a lot on, say, something like ABC. I believe that everyone should post with their proper names, like I post under Craig Eudey.
Yes.
And because I don't believe in pseudonyms, and they come up with funny excuses. Oh yeah, but if they're applying for a job, they're going to check and see if this person's on this and that. I think it's a lot of rubbish. But to me, if you're going to have an opinion, you must be able to stand by it and say, I, Andrew Harrison, believe this, or
Absolutely.
Warren Inferno, I believe this.
Yeah.
And I say, Craig, this is what I believe.
Yeah.
And I hate these keyboard warriors that sit behind there. If you're going to have an opinion, put your name to it.
Yeah, it's a good point. And yeah, everyone's entitled to an opinion, etc. But
I mean, a lot of trainers used to, well, not a lot, but many trainers did go onto ABC, and they just said, "Why must I take the abuse? Why must I take the abuse from the person sitting behind the keyboard and no name?
Absolutely.
You can't. It's like fighting a ghost.
Yeah, fighting his guy with some cracking. What do you call it? What do you call it? Can you compare?
I don't know.
You do know.
Marisburg College sayings.
When you compare things, man. Pardon?
Metaphors.
No, not metaphors. The name will come to me. Analogies. Is it analogies? Yes.
I don't know. Let's have an English lesson.
Ask Lafferty.
Yeah, I was going
Ask
to say
Paul
Paul
Lafferty.
Lafferty's not here. Okay, so that's about the comments and about the media and ABC and quite right, but because people don't want to take abuse, eventually you get enough's enough.
Why should I?
Why should I? Absolutely.
Yeah. Trying to help
with you. Absolutely. I mean, as I told you on the podcast the other day, there was a gentleman who insulted our new young presenter. Yes, he's young. Yes, he's learning. But we were all young and learning in the game. You know, we're still learning to this day. And I didn't say anything, but I thought to myself, there's the guy giving his honest opinion of what nobody's forcing you to do. If I say, Craig, the restaurant down the road makes fantastic pizzas, I'm not forcing you to go there. Go and try it for yourself. And you might go there and the pizza's dreadful. It is what it is.
Well, I was lucky enough through ABC to train some horses for a wonderful man, Greg Bortz.
Okay.
He was a lovely guy to train for. He phoned me one day and said, would you meet me in Durban? And he said, I've seen how you're trying to help people on ABC with your comments and even questions about racing and stuff like that. And he sent me some horses. We had lovely horses, Buster Brown and that sort of thing. Okay. And lovely guy to train for, but all through being open and direct.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. That's a huge thing is the transparency and the comments. And as I said, for just some comment is better than nothing at all. Let's talk about a guy that we all know, and it was quite strange how we met. I mean, obviously social media is a funny thing, but a guy by the name of Tony Ridgway, who is, like a lot of people in racing, takes no nonsense and tells it as it is, and sometimes, and he won't never get offended by me saying it, is he sometimes tells it too much to the point that people get a little upset. But everyone's different, as we've explained. Some people take no bull SH, and tell it as it is. And that's maybe better than having somebody going around your back.
Tell it to you straight.
Straight. So he's been getting involved on our Facebook and Gold Circle's Facebook and I wish we'd got that on camera.
He's been at the.
I wish we'd got that on camera.
Sister Butt will put you off, or you won't be able to ride again.
I'm going to send you down to the academy.
The producer's just fallen on his
6 months off.
But there's also what do you call it? A clinic here.
Summerfeld Clinic. Gold Circle sponsored Summerfeld Clinic.
Yeah, take a chair. Far better to sit on a chair than a cardboard box. So we were talking about Tony Ridgway. Yes. So a guy who loves his racing. He's based in Cape Town, and you know him, or not personally maybe, but you know of him over the websites and things. And now that I've got to know him a lot more, he's a man who's just like all of us, sick for horses and sick for the game. And he sent me a message the other day, and I didn't. You learn about people. He's an animal lover like you, and we're going to get to that. He's a cat lover, and he is a singer. This is not a UB40 or whatever the case may be, but he likes to sing. He's a musician. He plays music, and he's written up a song.
He paints too, doesn't he?
He paints, does lovely sketches, lovely drawings. And the more you get to know him and people in general, the more you are actually quite humble that there's so many horse lovers out there, because at the end of the day, that's what we are. But we're going to get to one day and his team to put up a song that he wrote, and to put up the lyrics. He wrote the song, he recorded it at home in his own studio. His music is all himself, and we'll ask them to post and have a look at the lyrics, because it's an ode to the horse.
Okay.
Talking of ode to the horse, Ode to the Ocean is running on Sunday. Did you see that?
No.
I've got to run in a listed event.
Oh,
Quite excited.
are you going up?
No.
No.
I can't afford.
That's
to
the
go.
one you brought all the way down here to find us.
That's the same one.
Thank you. I won't be watching.
That's exactly the same one, but I can't afford to go to Pinetown, never mind to Joburg, so we'll have to wait for Ode to the Ocean to hopefully win, and then I can fly up for the next race. But yeah, unfortunately we found you, but you were good.
She's a good, she's a good filly. She won that very well.
So back to Tony, and he's put up this song, and it's just a lovely song. It's an ode to the horse, and we'll give them a space to put up the lyrics so that the viewers can read it and click onto the link, or we'll put it up on the Facebook.
Are you going to play it now?
Well, let's start and play. I mean, I'm not going to play the whole thing because we're in the editing team. If his back's all right, when his back's all right, we will play the whole. We'll get it. But he has this song, so let's leave. I'll put it right here. I mean, this is all done in his home in Cape
Professional,
Town.
eh?
Rolling hooves of thunder,
Lightning in the air,
lightning in the air.
speed and stealth and stamina. Gotta hold him there. He wants to take the bit, yet he's fighting for his head. He wants to win. He wants to be the best. He holds the rider on his rein, like they're riding into war. He wants to be victorious. He's felt this rush before. He falls into his stride and says, forget about the rest, 'cause he wants to win.
Okay, so that's Tony Ridgway, who's, a song about the horse. I mean, it's just absolutely brilliant. So thanks, Tony, for that contribution, and we wish you all the very best and for your support of horse racing. It's greatly appreciated. Talking about animal lovers, Tony loving cats and all animals. Now, you see, that horse, did you hear it? When it's working, it was making a neighing noise.
Yes.
It's still no.
It said, hey, it's time to go for a grub.
Here we go. It's still neighing. So now, is he trying to be silly by playing games because the horse is working and neighing? I mean, you can't predict what horses are going to do. It's still neighing.
Probably needs gelding.
It's a filly.
We had a horse.
Did you have a look?
We had a filly. I think it was called the Rose. Paul Gasby fell off it. We raced it at Clarewood, I'm talking 35 years ago, and coming through about the 400, as Paul gave it a smack down the shoulder, started neighing in the race, and Paul nearly fell off. It ran last, didn't last long as a racehorse.
Talking about gelding, I laughed the other day, or a couple of months ago in the parade, when jockey came back, he said, the gelding hasn't helped this horse. So the trainer said, well, what must I do? He said, try and put the testicles back and see if that'll help. Tell me, Craig, animals. You've got a lot of dogs. Tell us about these dogs and how you found them. And a lot of them are rescues, but you're an animal lover like all of us.
Yeah, I love my animals, and that's why I love this game, and especially dogs. And I've now got 6, 4 of which go nearly everywhere with me. Whippy, Carrie, and Tracy Willard found on the side of the road, just down the road here. And they actually took it to the vet to be put down as an Africanus, because it was full of ticks and skinny and wet. It was pouring with rain. And the vet said, these are so strong. They dewormed it, washed it, gave it some sort of injection, and she's 13 years old now, and I've never had to take her back to the vet again. Then through Lost Souls, which is Tracy McLennan Smith, she does a great job in Hillcrest. I got Marlow, which is the 3-legged one, and then there's also Judy van der Westhuizen with Katani Animal Rescue. I got the one-eyed one, the one-eyed Jack Russell, and then we got Cleo through the SPCA. Okay. So we got those 4, and then my landlord then immigrated 2-3 days ago, so now inherited another Africanus and a crossbreed. So yeah, but just to give a rescue a home, you cannot believe what dogs they are. You cannone believe what dogs they are. So wherever we can, we promote them, and when we can take another one, we do.
when talking about rescues, when we went on, we only go on holiday once a year, not 4 times a month like him. But when we went recently to, up inland, in the place where we stayed, they've got 17 dogs, and all 17 rescues, and everyone different shapes and sizes, different personalities. But the gentleman was also telling me, wow, solid dogs that are by your side like you can't believe.
Yeah. No, they're unbelievable. They're just so grateful to be given the second chance. It's just unbelievable to watch.
I want to, just before we move on to talking about a few horses in the yard and October Song who won yesterday, I just want to make it very clear, because I hate offending people. When I said, when we were listening to Tony's song, I said, well, he's very good. His song is excellent. He's not like Depeche Mode or Aha. I wasn't being disrespectful. I just meant, if he was, I'm sure if
well, you're chickening out now.
No, I'm not chickening out. I don't want him to, because
we both said we prefer him to Depeche Mode anyway.
Well, there we go. We prefer Tony.
We all had our own opinions.
Okay. So, Tony, big thumbs up to you. A great voice, a great song, and we look forward to more coming our way. Back to October Song. A horse that never won, well, no, not never won, a horse that, well, there was from the maiden win a couple of disappointing runs, but lovely to see October Song bounce right back to best yesterday.
Yes, she's a lovely, beautiful Rafie filly for Tinas. And, we were very, very confident about winning first time out. And she was just green, and she got beaten ran second at Scottsville.
Yes.
And then she beat a very nice filly of Duncan's. I think it was Lucky Miss.
Yes.
At 1,400. And, that time we just said, we don't want to get stuck behind anything, so Serena take it to the front. And then she was disappointing, and we couldn't place why. And then tried it the one day, Mark said, let's try with some blinkers at home. And she was a different filly. And she just come on from then. Obviously, a day like yesterday, it was a strong field, Ethiopian Queens and all that sort of thing in the race. And you want to see her do well, because you don't know if she's going to reproduce her homework back at the course. But, she jumped a bit slow, and within 10 strides, she was inside in the middle of them again. And she ran a really great race. So we now know that the blinkers are working at home and they're working on the racetrack.
The runner in the first race, just refresh my memory, the name, it keeps running second.
Only Hearts.
Only Hearts now. It's 3 runs, 3 seconds. And that's great. I hate running second, whether I'm an owner or from a punting perspective. But she's doing all right. Does she need further?
We're trying to decide. We think more with her at the moment is she doesn't really like it any sort of wet. She jumped reasonably well, and she was sitting 2-3 lengths off, and then she
out of
was,
it.
Serena said it was sticky there, and she just dropped right out of it.
Yes.
And then she had to be hard ridden to come back again up the hill. And funnily enough, I saddled in the 7th race for Wendy. She'd gone down to the sales in Cape Town, and the jock was Donovan Dillon, who won on Wendy's horse there.
Yes. And
he said to me, basically he couldn't believe that she got back to run second. He said, because I went past her, coming through about the 700, and he said to me that horse was dead in the water. She was going nowhere. She was hating every minute of the going. He said, because I saw it coming as I came past. And then she still managed to get up for second. At the moment, I think she'd win a 12.
Okay.
14 wouldn't worry her.
On top 12, a good going 12.
Good going 12, yeah. But then you take away Wendy's horse, and she's 2.5, 3 lengths clear of the next horse.
Yeah.
Wendy thinks a lot of her horse.
Yes.
So that's great. So, we've been beaten before by top horses.
Yes.
Something owed to the ocean beat us the other day or something. I'm not sure how, but anyway.
Well, we're lining up, win, lose or draw. We're lining up in a listed race. So at least you know that we do think quite highly of her. So you weren't beaten by a moderate sort. Well,
yes.
She's hopefully she goes the right way.
Now one came out and won next time anyway.
Absolutely.
Woodland Retreat.
Then, talking about Wendy, and the podcast is about you and us, but a lady also that you've known for many years, and lovely that she's got the Arundel family behind her and all her owners. We all appreciate every owner, big or small, but the new colours of the Arundels, they've got off to a good start.
Yes, she's had a couple of places for them and features and that sort of thing. And then she did heated, then she ran second to us the other day with Return to Russia.
Yes, but did you dead heated?
Dead heated with Wendy with
yes,
rulership.
That's
with
right.
rulership.
That's right. Yes.
And then yesterday, she said to me, she was a lovely, lovely filly, and I thought she might want a little bit further Ventura out of a Fortwood mare, but anyway, she's obviously seriously good. And I've known Wendy since before she even started seeing Duncan. And I think Damon's about 20-something years
Yes,
old
yes,
already,
yes,
so that's
yes.
how long we've known Wendy.
But I mean, you're looking good. You're looking solid for 97.
Yes, it's just I stopped smoking last week.
Craig, we were talking about the Arundels and Wendy. There was just one other thing I wanted to add to that. The sportsmanship that when you guys did Heated was fantastic, you know, to see that the interviews were done together. And I wanted to do that because the two jocks together, the two trainers, because sportsmanship, you know, I'm not a big sportsman, but I've taken a bit of an interest in boxing. And I'm by no means.
I heard Tyson Fury's looking to sign you up as a sparring partner.
No, I thought it was to be his driver. That's about the closest I'll get to.
Yeah, I was watching you. Your footwork's not too good.
Anyway, it's all about learning. But so I'm really enjoying this. And one thing I've learned, and I've been to quite a few boxing matches since I've started, is respect and sportsmanship is a hell of a thing. You know, you watch before the fight, the gentleman go and, you know, fist pump, shoulder to shoulder, and that's it. Then they step aside, and the fight starts, and you mud each other in the parade ring, in the ring, in the boxing ring, and afterwards there's a hug and a, you know, and that for me is and the guy can be bleeding, half dead. Sportsmanship is what it's all about.
Well, that's one of the reasons I don't really watch much football anymore. Soccer is, and I'd rather watch the rugby. If you look at the difference in the way the players treat the refs and that sort of thing. To me, the game's there. You play it. You get beaten. It's not going to be the first time you get beaten. It's not going to be the last time you get beaten. But I just find this rolling around on the ground. I'm probably going to make a lot of enemies. Rolling around on the ground when you've been touched with a little finger. It just annoys me.
Yeah.
And then you'll see the 6'6" rugby player saying yes or no sir or to the ref, whereas the other guy's screaming in the guy's face.
Yeah.
I just
good
respect in sport.
It's funny,
We're going to get beat.
Yeah, I was watching the 2009 Lions tour here, and they said it was the most brutal series ever in rugby history. The blokes beating each other up, punching. So Bucky's Puerto pushing their bloke over. It was scary to watch, but it was good.
And then they all meet for beer afterwards.
They all meet for a beer. I heard a Bucky starting. I was going to say, I hope it's not yours, but with those dogs in the car, nobody would go near you, Bucky.
No, they're my car guards.
Craig, talking about owners quickly, rulership reminded me, Mr. Bates, lovely that he's still involved. Those colours have been around for many years.
Yes, Michael trained the mother Clear Sailing for them. And I think she won for Dennis, and then Mike managed to get it right. She had a bit of a wind problem. And then I think she ended up in PE, running a place in a small feature.
Okay.
But she produced a very nice colt in him, and he's not going to stop there.
We're in the home straight with about 100 metres to go before we wrap up, but I want to ask you a couple of, when I say personal questions, fun questions. Some people enjoy them, some people don't enjoy them, but it's what it is. Your favourite food? If we were going to take you for a dinner, what do you like eating?
Cottage pie.
Cottage pie. Okay, it's my absolute worst cottage pie. But anyway,
I love it.
I think if it's made properly, though, I think.
When I was in the army, we were on the border for 3 months. We got to Pretoria and phoned my mum and said, "Listen, we're going to be no cell phones in those days, those dicky boxes." So we're going to be landing at Old Louis Botha here at 4 o'clock. And she said, "What would you like to eat?" I said, "Cottage pie and peas."
That was it. Oh, wonderful. And Craig, favourite beverage, alcoholic or non-alcoholic, both?
I might have a beer once a week these days, Fintook Light. Okay. Otherwise, I absolutely love water. Love water.
That's
love
changed.
water. Yeah, no, 97% of beer is water.
He's matured, you see. He's
getting up at 2:15 for Mike. Beer and alcohol doesn't mix with that.
Well, that was the next thing. What time do you wake up?
I get up at 2:15.
Sure. It's
and
in the middle
then
of the
I
night.
leave. Yeah, no, well, for some people, it's early. No, my late night movie starts at 5:30. And then I get to work here just before 3.
Okay.
So, but then Mike's here, the 2 head boys are here, so we all here at the same time. So
okay, and then in the evenings, you sort of your afternoon shift is sort of 2 to 5 or a bit
from about 1:30 till we normally feed at about 4:45 unless we're going down to the pens or something like that. 4:45, 4. So I'm normally home by about 4:45.
Okay. Family.
7:30 is lights out.
Lights out, eh? Lights out. Fast asleep. Right?
Now, when I do go down to the club and have a beer or two, I'll leave there at 6 o'clock or something like that. The guys are saying, why are you leaving so early? I said, but my 6 o'clock is your 10, 11 o'clock.
Yes.
You're going to be in bed by then because you sleep until 7 in the morning.
Quite right.
I must be a good owner. I want to phone you at about 10 o'clock.
You might not get answered.
And Craig family, brothers, sisters?
I've got a sister in Joburg, who's, Vivian, who's married to a guy called Grant Dunnington. He's just retired, and they great, lovely sister, and lovely kids, and everything like that. Mum always wanted me to have kids, but not wanting to get married or anything like that. Then she said to me, don't worry about it. You just make someone's life a misery if you get married. And then I've got a brother, Grant, in Brisbane, and his wife, Lindsay. And they've also got 2 kids that just got married with kids. So, but I've never had the inclination to get married, never had the inclination to have kids.
Okay.
You know, I've got the dogs and that, and got the horses.
Yeah, okay. Sweet tooth, no sweet tooth?
Oh, yeah. I hate chocolate and ice cream, and I really do hate it.
Okay. Pet hate. What is it that irritates you the most?
Sometimes me being on a course when your horse is 5 to 10 and someone walks up to you and says, got a chance.
No.
You should have said, no, we're going to pull it up.
Yeah, it's 5 to 10 and has it got a chance.
Okay, so that is one of your pet hates. Okay.
Sometimes look at Mr. Gordon, which is quite interesting.
Well, I get called
I'd rather that than have you got a chance at 5 to 10.
Yeah, I get called. Somebody on course calls me Mr. Rob. You remember Nick Rob?
Nick Rob
is working now in Newmarket.
You don't even look the same.
Well, that's what I can't understand. He calls me Mr. Nick Rob, but be that as it may. Craig, that's it.
I want to know about politician. You and me are both politician fans.
Absolute politician fan. That's why when my folks came to me that morning and said, listen, don't worry about the money we spent on you at Varsity, you can leave and go. And I went down to Greyville with a mate of mine, Howard Swan, and politician one. It was like the best day ever. And then just watching him race in Cape Town, never beaten in Cape Town, never beaten over 1,600 metres. Some of these horses that they won met 2-3 times and that sort of thing, they're not in the same division. They changed everything for him. He would have taken them with a tow rope.
Sure. He was seriously good. I remember
2-2 was actually just too far for him.
Yeah,
only his class got him to win the July.
We were in the army up on the border, and Left's brother, Paul, I think his name is. Peter Lefty. He sent him. We used to get mail every now and then, and he said, Sid Ledd's got a new champion. It's called Politician. Yeah. And then I came back, and I was in Cape Town with a mate of mine, and we watched him win the Derby. He beat Big Swinger.
Jeez.
Yeah.
What do you think over the air? He beat over the air. I think it was the Queen's Plate, the second Queen's Plate win.
Yeah. Queen's Plate used to be run after the Met in those days. So.
And over the air came out was a champion in his own right.
Yeah.
And politicians played with him. He just went to the front and beat him by I think 3 3/4 lengths.
Yeah.
Never beaten in Cape Town.
That last race was the Queen's Plate, the last Queen's Plate that he won. He was retired after that, and they paraded him in front of the grandstand at Kenilworth, and all the blokes were leaning over the rails and things like that, and he bloody lashed out, and nearly took a bloke's head off. And the bloke said, "Dis my pert."
I still think the greatest race I've ever seen is Politician second Met.
Yeah.
I mean, I said to Bertie Hayden when he was still alive, I said to him, that is the greatest race. He said, I had Mace Roberts, I think it was in front of me. He said, I said to him, listen, can you help? He said, I'm going nowhere because I'm where you are. I'm going to run second. And that horse Festive Season flashed over the outside. Errol Lang, I think, was on.
Errol Lang, Season,
went clear. And he said, I just closed my eyes. He said, because I knew what Sid Laird was going to do to me when I got back to the parade ring. And he said, next minute, he said, one was just rolled slightly. I think it was Boart or whatever it was. It was
Ryan
or something, and just rolled slightly. He said, Politician went through the gap. And the commentator, remember, he actually stops talking.
It was about
couldn't believe it.
100
meters.
2 furlongs out. He said it says that Politician can't win it from there, and he started coughing.
Yeah, and he stopped. And Politician, and he's got it.
Yeah.
I mean, every stride he made up half a length on the horse. Unbelievable race to watch.
Yeah.
Well, I must go and Google that.
I watched it hanging around. There was a bloke called King Louis, the bookmaker. But those days, the place was absolutely packed. The only place I could find to watch the race was hanging on the side of his cubicle. Oh.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, that's okay. So, Politician, absolutely wonderful.
Anyway,
betting man. Are you a betting man? Do you have a little tickle now?
I have a little tickle. Get on my Hollywood account or the tab account and have a little bet there. 200 rand is a big bet for me.
Okay, lovely. And Craig, last thing in the personal department, you seem to be a fairly calm, happy-go-lucky, but I mean, like all of us, you can, would you say in general you're just a calm, happy-go-lucky person, or can you get a little
Something's
fiery?
going to annoy me. Something is going to annoy me, but I had SGRT, whatever they call it, with your cholesterol.
Oh,
Whatever, you know what it is. It was 27, whatever it was. And the doctor, I was taking out his daughter, he said, the only reason that you're not dead is because you don't stress. He said, with that, at 27,
yes.
you should be dead.
Yeah.
They phoned back the first time. We had those old answering machines.
Yes.
He said, so all I got there was, Craig, Dr. Solon, phone me urgently. I thought he'd caught on about the daughter and myself, but anyway.
No, well, that's fantastic. Okay, I think that's a wrap, Andrew.
Yep.
We've had a lovely conversation with Craig, and we just thank you for all, you and all the other trainers and the Miller team for your transparency and always being happy to talk to us, and wish you all the best, and long may the yard keep firing, and also for your service to the industry. It's been a long time. I'll talk to you about something. There's possibly somebody that could be retiring from racing soon, and I won't mention names because I need you to confirm that. But I mentioned in a meeting that if it is the case, we need to do a bit of a tribute, because there are so many people that have given their lives to racing and continue to give their lives to racing, and I believe that they need to be to be recognised. And I'll talk to you about that later. But thank you for everything, and thank you for
absolute pleasure.
just loving
Thanks
the
for the
animals
opportunity.
and loving, and anything we can do, give us a shout. But I think it's more we need your help, so we'll be knocking on your door.
It's fine, anytime we'll try.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Craig Eudey and Andrew Harrison and myself, and we're upstairs here. You'll see the view. I've said it till I'm blue in the face. You can come up to Summerveld Clubhouse. It's open to the public. The best breakfast. We're going to go and have breakfast now. Are you having an omelette, or are you having the full house?
I'm going to check the me and you.
You're going to check the me and you. You are welcome to join us, but I know you're a light eater, and although judging by your tank, I mean, we are here upstairs and on the deck, but you just have a look at this view of the horses coming by, the luscious green grass, the hills in the background. It is a wonderful venue. Please come out and enjoy a breakfast. No entrance fee. You just pay for what you eat, and it's open to the public. From all of us at In the Box Seat Podcast, don't forget to like, don't forget to share, don't forget to subscribe, and just be happy and be safe. Remember, we take no negativity. Try be nice. From the whole team, including the production team who's fallen off his chair, have a good times racing, and we'll see you as always in the number one box.
Thank you.